Hey, what's going on, guys? Fuller here from Custom Offsets TV on YouTube with another tire lineup video for you. Now this time we're not focusing on one particular brand, we're bringing you the top 5 all-terrain tires. So I went up on the website, I looked at what people are buying, what people are installing on their vehicles, and these are going to be the top 5 performers in the all-terrain category. So essentially, before we jump into it, let me break it down. You got your all-terrains, which are going to be your least aggressive option until you go to a street tire, obviously. And then step up from there is going to be your hybrid tire, which combines both an all-terrain and a mud tire. And then lastly, you do have that mud tire that I just mentioned, and that's going to be your most aggressive off-road setup. So these guys are the all-terrains. This is for the guy that does a lot of highway driving or in-town driving, doesn't usually go off-road, but might once in a while see some sort of gravel trail, or you like to take your truck hunting, fishing, camping, that kind of stuff, where you need a good tire that's going to hold up in many different situations. So these are going to be your all-terrains, good for all-around general purpose use on like in these particular sizes, 285, 55, R20. It's going to be more of like your leveled application. So that metric size, the 285, 55, 20, converts out to be about 32.3, 32.4 tall by about 11.2 wide. So I guess keep that in mind as far as sizes go on this. That's what we're looking at. They're all the exact same. I got all the same sizes so you can see the differences between them just looking straight on, because a lot of times if you're looking for tires online, trying to watch videos, looking at pictures, you can't see them side by side. So that's why we got all of them pulled out, and I'll run down the line starting on the left-hand side, my left-hand side, your right, and go all the way down here. So we got the Falcon Wild Peak AT3W, Toyo Open Country AT2, Nitto Terra Grappler G2, the BFGoodrich TAKO2, and then last is the Atturo Trailblade AT. So starting on my left, like I said, this is the Falcon Wild Peak AT3W. I've actually had quite a bit of personal experience driving on this tire, both on and off-road, and I really enjoy this one, which is why I put it first. There's no particular order to any of these, they were all in the top 5. But for the Wild Peak, the thing I like most about this one is really the snow performance. Actually, this thing is really good in the snow, and that's mostly because of all the siping you'll see on the shoulder blocks here. It's got a ton. It alternates between 2 and 3 depending on what size shoulder block you're looking at. And then in the center, it gets a lot tighter pattern. It still has a really nice tread depth where it's nice and deep, but it's a much tighter pattern, so that kind of reduces your road noise and things like that. Some people compare this to the Wrangler Duratrack. The Duratrack is, I'd say, significantly louder than the Falcon Wild Peak, and these come in at a pretty decent price as well. This particular size, if you're looking at, it's about $1,200, just under $1,200. Now what we can do is if you buy wheels and tires, you actually get a bundle price, and the tires come down a decent amount on there depending on which wheels you choose. So just keep that in mind. We also do free shipping to lower 48 states, as well as free mounting and balancing, so I can just throw that in there and get it out of the way right off the bat. If we measure this tire out, like I said, it's basically a little bit more than a 33 tall. If you're looking at the actual width, because that's what people care about when you measure, if you go seam to seam, it comes out right to that 11 1/8, 11 1/4, which is right where it's supposed to be. So as far as other info on this, there isn't a mileage warranty on here, which is kind of a drawback, but it is 10 ply and a load range E, as well as a 122 load index. So basically that's good for 3,000 pounds at max pressure. So keep in mind, anytime we're talking about the load index, it's going to be at maximum pressure to get the most weight carrying capacity out of these guys. One thing I like that Falcon does is you'll see on the very edges of these shoulder blocks, as you wear this tire down, they kind of have steps. So you get rid of some rubber because you're wearing it down, but you do have incremental step blocks in there so that you still have plenty of tread going on as you wear these things down. And they do wear fairly decent. I know there's no mileage warranty, but I'd expect at least probably 45 to 50,000 miles out of these things with proper rotation. From there, we'll jump to probably the 2 most popular as far as what people have heard of before and they've seen before, starting with the Toyo Open Country AT2. Now I won't explain a ton about this one because I was actually just at Toyo and they let me know, and I got to see the brand new Toyo Open Country AT3 that's going to be coming out. Now it's not going to be for a while, so this tire is still relevant, but they did listen to some feedback that I gave them. They're going to make some improvements on the new Open Country AT3. Not sure if you're supposed to know that or not, but I just told you, so there you go. As far as price point goes on the Open Country AT2, you're looking at $1,377 as just the standalone set of 4 shipped to you. As far as tread design on here, you can see there's a lot more spacing going on as far as the middle section of the tire. The shoulder blocks are definitely smaller than what you get on the Falcon, but Does give it a little more aggressive look. Very angular, lots of cuts going on here, so pretty decent off-road on this one too. I'd say the Open Country AT2 as compared to the Terra Grappler G2, this one's going to be better if you do occasionally find yourself in some sort of gravel trail, off-road situation, all that kind of jazz. Other styling features, the sidewall on here is not super aggressive. That's one of the major things that I brought up to Toyo, is that everybody wants to get good mileage out of their tires. They include a 50,000 mile warranty on here, which is great. But if you got an aggressive looking truck, it's lifted, you want an aggressive looking sidewall too. So that's where they're lacking just a little bit on the Open Country AT2. Should be fixed by the time we get the Open Country AT3. This one, the 2, is 10 ply rated, load range E, which is pretty typical, and then it's 122 load index, so can carry a bit more weight, about 3,300 pounds roughly on there at max pressure. As well, the Open Country lineup is made in the United States, which is something really cool. It's made down in White, Georgia, small little town down there. So just a little tidbit of information if you want to know that. Like I said, Terra Grappler G2, very similar to the Open Country AT2. Nitto and Toyo are like sister companies. What you'll see here though is that they have more even spacing and it's a little tighter together, whereas the Open Country has a lot wider tread pattern. On here you're going to see less siping as well. So the Falcon has it very small, very jagged siping. This is a little bit wider, not quite as nice as what I'd like to see, like what Falcon did. And then you go to the G2 here, and it's a little less than the Open Country AT2. There's still a lot of it, but it's like angular cut, so as you wear down this tire, you kind of lose some of that siping on there, and they're just much wider than what you see on the other ones, which, when it comes to siping, is not actually a good thing like you may think. Shoulder on here, or sidewall I should say, same kind of story. Not much going on for aggressive appearance. It's very streamlined, just a couple of little pieces that cut down on the edges for some style points. Load range E on here, 10 ply, again 50,000 mile warranty on that, which is nice if you do a ton of driving. 122 load index, same as the Open Country, which again is going to be good for about 3,300 pounds at max pressure. And then for price point on the Terra Grappler G2, looking at about $1,260 roughly for the set of 4 shipped to your door. Obviously, like I mentioned before, if you pack them up with wheels, we can always see what we can do there for you too. Moving on then from the G2 to the BFGoodrich All-Terrain TAKO2, which is the longest tire name ever. And this tire also has been around for a very long time too. Your dad probably had a set, your uncle definitely had a set, especially if he's got a boat. All jokes aside, we called it the dad's tire when we made this video a while back when Sean did it. And we got a lot of people kind of upset that were like, hey, that's actually a good tire. And I do have to agree, the BFGoodrich TAKO2 is a pretty decent tire. When it comes to design, the KO2 has had the same design for a very long time, and that's just because it works. Now, you've probably seen that these come factory on the Ford Raptors, and I always say that if it's good enough for a Ford Raptor and good enough for Ford to choose as the tire on the Raptor, then it's probably good enough for you. Now, there's a lack of siping here, which is something I like to see a little bit more of in an all-terrain tire if you're using it for that all-season purpose, but it is very aggressive. It's symmetrical in the sense that you have the same pattern repeating over and over again, but everything overlaps. So when you're going off-road or taking this through some mud, you should have plenty of grip in those situations. It has these big slice backs in the shoulder blocks. There's a straight cut and then an angular cut. It's just more grooves, more surface area, more potential to get you through whatever you're trying to go through. And then downside to this one is going to be it's only 8 ply. There's no warranty and it's a load range D. So this is a 117 load index. So you're gonna see it's on the lower side, only about 2,800 pounds of weight carrying capacity at full pressure. Where they do shine is gonna be on the sidewall. BFG listened, they made an aggressive sidewall on their all-terrain tire. So you can see it's very angular, lots of cuts going on, and it looks aggressive. They put right on the side Baja Championship because people in the race world use this exact same tire on race trucks, and it's just been proven over and over again to be a very decent tire. You do pay a bit for it. It's $1,300, so like $1,350 roughly for the set of 4 of them, but you got a name like BFG, they put a price tag behind it that matches. Last on the list is the Itoro Trailblade AT, and I saved this one for the end because you've been hearing lots of $1,300, $1,400 price points. This tire, a set of 4 of them, is under $600. How do they do that? As you guys know, Atturo has been around for a while now. They like branched out in the scene trying to make affordable tires for enthusiasts. Their whole motto is that all the guys there are enthusiasts. They actually drive on their tires, they have lifted trucks, they take their things off-road, they sponsor race teams, and they're just as good as the rest of the guys. So on the AT, you'll see that this tread pattern I'd say is significantly less aggressive than the other ones, but if you're just that guy who drives down the street all the time, there's nothing wrong with that, especially when they're only $600. Now, in order to make their tires that low, obviously they're not produced in the United States like the Toyos. These guys are made in Thailand. So is it a big deal? No. Most of the stuff nowadays isn't made in the United States just because manufacturing costs are so high, and Atturo does really do a pretty decent job at making a good tire for the price point. To get the most out of these things, you're going to want to make sure that you rotate them regularly. Just like any tire, it's important to rotate them, but these guys especially, you know, every oil change or 3,000 miles, however long you're going, just rotate these guys around because there is no mileage warranty on here. You do get the full manufacturer's warranty, just no mileage warranty. 115 load index, so again, that's going to be on the lower side, and they actually don't have, there's no like load range listed on there, so the load index only going to be good for about that 2,600 pound load carrying capacity at full pressure. So if you're running a heavy duty truck or something like that, not going to be the tire for you. But they did introduce lots of siping going on here, so this should be a pretty decent tire in the snow as well as just on dry pavement. Plenty of water evacuation channels and everything like that, so I wouldn't worry about hydroplaning. Sidewall, very, very basic. It kind of has this like angular cuts into the side, nothing coming out. It's kind of rounded over a bit, so you'll see that these tires do look a little more narrow. I measured the Falcon and I didn't measure the rest of them, but I'll do it right now so that you can see. The open country, again, same kind of story, 11 1/4. Terra Grappler, even more, probably close to about 11 1/2. BFG, 11 1/4. Then you come to the Itoro, and if you really go from seam to seam here, even though it's the same size tire, I'm measuring about 10 1/2, 10 5/8 maybe. If you go all the way bulge to bulge, then that's where you're just touching that 11 1/4 mark. So just appears a little bit narrow, or just because of narrower. Yeah, editors probably just leave that and you guys can laugh at me. Looks a bit narrower because of the rounded edges to the sidewall here. So that is it. Those are your top 5 all-terrain tires. If you guys have driven on these, have experiences with them, drop them in the comments below. If you're just looking to pick up a set, that's kind of what we do. Head up to customoffsets.com. Wheels, tires, suspension, all that jazz. If you want us to keep making videos, that's how you can support us. It's the easiest way to do it. We appreciate every single one of you. And I'm hot and exhausted. We're done. Peace.